This thing is a thing that's I'm all here. I'm gonna say we do this. Good evening, everybody, and happy first day of spring. Oh, yeah, I was glad that spring started at 5:01 this morning.
You take your word for
It's true. So, glad to see everybody. We are already in open session. We've already had pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence. We were in closed session a little bit earlier, so we're back in open session. And we'll begin with approval of the minutes. And so these are the minutes from February 6th, February 20th closed session meeting part A, February 20th meeting minutes, March 6th closed session minutes, and March 6th meeting minutes. So everybody had a chance to go through the minutes and make any suggested edits? Okay. So everyone can vote on this one. If everybody's good, may I have a motion to approve these minutes?
So move.
second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And we now have the closed session minutes from February 20th, part B. Make a motion.
So a second, rather, sorry.
All right, all in favor?
Then you know why you're abstained. I abstain.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is administrative reports. The council members all look at the administrative reports from that were submitted to the city. Okay. I know a couple of things that the storm sewer video camera was finally delivered on March 14th. So I was there when it arrived, and was very excited to get it going. I would also note that this month is the first time we have a stormwater management report, and that was submitted by Brittany, who's done a wonderful job, lots of pictures, and she's doing a remarkable job. So kudos to her. I will be meeting with Brittany and Lester Myers, the director, on Monday with the city engineer and GIS specialist. This year, the city has to map all of its underground pipes, and so that'll be coming up. That'll be a capital project that we'll be talking about fairly soon. We also need to retrofit all of our inlets, which I've talked about a couple of times. A couple of other things from the administrative reports we did. We had 8,900 park mobile transactions last month, and just over $26,000 in meter fees. We did welcome a couple of new employees this month to the police department. Connor English and Melanie Bett are been recently hired and will be at the police academy for the next 6 months. Returning to full-time service here in Maryville, I think in September. And hotel took in $12,990 last month in my hotel and occupancy tax. So we have a motion to accept the administrative reports, please. So
Second.
all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thanks. We're going to move on to public participation in constituent concerns. Before we do that, I had a telephone call this afternoon from John Connors, who's the developer of Finkel's former Finkel site. Called me from California. He said he had watched the last meeting, and he wanted me to reach out to the community to express his gratitude, and also to say that when he comes back from California, he would like to set up a community meeting with all members of the community, neighbors, anybody who has any questions, more than willing to talk about kind of where they are, what they're thinking, what their plans are, and answer questions. So as soon as I have that, Cindy will notice it because and the council will all be invited, of course. And he wants to do that really within the next month. So if everybody will just kind of keep that in mind, we'll get the word out. We have Rentable Matters and the regular noticing requirements. So looking forward to that. All right, so I will now open up to public participation. We ask, unless you have mobility issues, to step up to the mic. You have 3 minutes of uninterrupted time to make your comments or ask your questions, and we would ask you to say your name and your address for the record.
Hi, everybody. I'm Beth O'Brien from 2 Hancock Street. I want to thank you, Mayor, with your Lambertville Matters letter today for encouraging residents to get their wells tested. I do not want the environmental crisis in my neighborhood, Connaught Hill, to fall off the radar. It has been 8 months since our well tested positive for dangerous levels of PFAS. It is a long and complicated process to navigate the spill fund. It took us 4 months to get our filtration system installed. We still have not been reimbursed for well testing and bottled water. Many of our neighbors still do not have access to clean, safe drinking water. It's been 8 months. For the record, I would like everyone to know that 74 wells have been tested on Connaught Hill. 71 of those wells are contaminated and are not safe for consumption. The residents of Connaught Hill are working together to support each other. Working with our neighbors in West Amwell, the DEP plans to test 40 more wells in May. Thank you.
Jeff Fiddle, 33 Wilson Street. I just want to say that, many other communities, they're doing a lot more in their Washington Township. The town's actually testing the wells and putting funding out ahead of time, and also working with the community to bring in water sources. But I'm here to talk about, I think, something more important, which is the future of our community. We are seeing a double threat to our community with the development on the hill and development of Kales. And I'm glad that they're coming to discuss it, because from what I've seen and heard, it's a fairly large project that could have a long-term impact on the neighborhood with narrow streets. But the main issue I'm here is to talk about what's happening on the hill. I've read the different briefs. My concerns and fears that I've been raising for months and months, and many other people in this community have raised, are coming true. I thought our brief did not go far enough in saying why the hill was not an appropriate place. I felt that our brief in mentioning our current plan was opening the door for an attack by KHOG, and they did. Not having alternative sites gives them more standing to go after us. And when I read their report, their response, that came true. I mean, not only did they go after the town for not doing anything for years, but they said that site's been part of the plan for 7 years. Our response was that it is part of our plan. They are the contract owner. They want to go up to 200 units. Our planner on September 9th, and they used the quote, said that was an appropriate site when she didn't do a proper analysis, which we raised at the meeting. That site has so many problems with it. You can talk about flooding, traffic, ingress and egress. You have something the town has never thought about or never really talked about. You have an unlined and unremediated landfill. You have a former electronics factory, which wasn't mentioned in our brief. You have wells that have been tested in that area, now 71 of them with PFAS. You have former ball fields that could have arsenic and a former orchard. That's why it's wrong. And on the other side, we have still not talked about or gotten to the place where we have alternative sites. The Village Apartments is like the #1 site that everybody wants. They came here back in June with a plan. We haven't heard from them, but we've never gone back to see if they're sticking with their plan. Do they want to go to another plan? I don't know. Has anybody had any contact with them? That'll be a question hopefully will be answered when I'm done. But that's the key site, as are some of the other sites. So we don't have an alternative plan, and we don't say why the hill is wrong, we're going to lose. And I'm really concerned about that, because that is a terrible project that's going to have long-term impacts, especially if they can get up and do the five from Clausen Farm and a few more. 200 units is just unacceptable. 139 is terrible. We have a toxic problem, whether it's in our parks or in our water. We have other sites that also have contamination. We're going to get inundated with development if this thing goes through, because if they get away with this, there are going to be other developers coming in one after another. So between the two sites, the future of this town is at risk. Basically, it's not the game of Jeopardy. We are in legal jeopardy. Thank you.
Oh, that's okay. So there's a problem with Zoom. People aren't able to access. The host needs to start the meeting, I think. While you're looking at that, I'll just comment on what Jeff was saying.
clearly, you've been talking about the environmental issues on this site for a long time. There are significant environmental issues. I think obviously we need to find out more about those environmental issues and we need to work on finding another site. Put this up there because obviously we don't want to build any housing, let alone affordable housing in a place where it's not safe for people to do that. And, obviously this has been part of our plan for a while, but I think everyone in this room knows that IDA changed a lot of things. I would hope that the judge would understand that as well. We learned a lot because of that, and we don't want to make those same mistakes again. So, yes, it wasn't our plan, but are there changed circumstances? Absolutely. And, we've been talking about this for a while, but we need to find another site, and I think we're finally moving in that direction. Is, the goal is to find a place where we can provide really nice affordable housing that's safe. 295 North Main is a much better location. There is a laundromat right there. There's the CVS there. It's right across the street from Holcomb Park. It's right next to the schools. Like when we talk about a good location for affordable housing, as long as it's high enough there, which obviously would have to be, it's a much better location than the pedestrian access, water issues that we have up on the hill. So,
Well, somebody's got to either talk to them or do something. Thank you. Good evening. I'm Roger Ferguson, 14 Railroad Point. I came to speak about Cavallo Park. By way of background, I'm a licensed site remediation professional, and I'm the owner of Penn Jersey Environmental Consulting, located here in Hunterdon County. I am livid at the work that has been done on behalf of the town on this. I have correspondence I prepared to send to New Jersey DEP to ask that the department execute compulsory direct oversight of the site because the state's remediation timeframes have been missed and the work that has been done heretofore is incompetent. I'm encouraged to see that you're hiring another firm, but I'm very discouraged to see that as a Pennsylvania firm who does not have an LSRP on staff. And I'd like to know how this council will effectively complete the remediation so the people of this town and my grandchildren can safely use the park.
Okay. You finished?
I am.
Okay, thank you. We're gonna stay on top of it, right? That's all, that's all I can say. I don't know, yeah, Bill, if you know anything, I think this specific, this has obviously been something that's been going on for years, and was not taken care of. Over the last 3 years, the city attorney and I have worked on trying to get some information that was, relevant and pertinent and important to the RAO. But that was not, forthcoming. We made multiple requests. There are many email chains that will show that we've been trying to work on this for the last couple of years. I can't speak to what happened before my administration. But obviously there's some public record, but it's clearly a problem. And as I said in Lambertville Matters today, as I said publicly, we want our parks to be safe, absolutely. And we also would like to close out this grant with Green Acres, which is which technically expired in December. So I think that it's very problematic, and I'll let Mr. Opel fill in any other details that you think might be pertinent to your remarks.
There will be an LSRP.
What will it be?
I don't have a name for you. I can get it for you. I would appreciate that. Absolutely.
But this firm does not have one on staff, and that is a grave concern. That is not the legislature's intent as to how the program was set up.
Yeah, well, the city needs somebody to substitute in for the current LSRP of record on the site. So
Has TNM been released from this project?
it will be.
Okay. I've spoken to that gentleman. I have to admit, as a professional who does this for a living, I'm very unimpressed. And I would suggest that the town has grounds to file a complaint against the licensing board in this matter. Against all 3 LSRPs who served on this case. That's how badly this has been screwed up.
We have talked about that, so I'm not prepared to discuss that in open
That's-
public meeting, but we can talk about it.
Okay. 2 weeks of time. That's one from the original. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for coming.
Dave Bird, 255 Brunswick Avenue. This is a simple question, and maybe I just missed it in the past. The ordinance tonight for first reading, 04/2025, notes a business administrator at $50,000 to $130,000 a year. Shared service, yes, shared service annual. Do we have a business administrator?
No, not currently. We have a budget consultant, and we are, the council and I have talked.
So it's just a space holder.
Well, I mean, I'm prepared to say it's more than a space holder at this time. You know, after having discussions with the council, I'm looking to potentially hire and do a shared service agreement with Frenchtown for shared services for a business administrator.
I think though, to Mr. Bird's point, before we did that, I believe, and it precedes me time on the council, is that we had changed the city ordinances to hire the prior business administrator, which turned out to be not such a great situation, not such a great idea. And I think we need to take a look back at the way they structured the government then with the business administrator, because it needs to be redone. And the business administrator had, I believe, and I'm talking off the top of my head, so too much authority, the way City Hall was structured, it was not a functional situation. So, no, we don't have one. And I want to add that if we were to add one, that we really need to take a fresh look at how someone like that would operate, particularly when they're part-time as well. So, with care.
Thank you both.
Yeah,
So I actually have, I've looked at I have the administrative code, I've been reading it and looking at it and sort of trying to imagine, what functions an administrator would have here. And we've talked about it, Councilman Stegman has talked to, and I have talked about it. We will review the administrative code and find sort of what's best for us. I think in terms of if I may, I'll just talk about this for a couple of minutes. I think in terms of a couple of the things that are in the code that I think are important are that we need someone to manage the human resources end of things in town. That's a very important element. And we could also use help overseeing projects, right? I mean, I honestly think that part of the problem we have at Cavalla Park and with a project that was never finished up on York Street and other projects is that, you know, we could really use a project manager, somebody who can oversee some of these more complex, you know, as it is, it's Cindy and me and you know, we're kind of patching together the communication. We do it pretty well, I think, but I can certainly understand how things kind of fall, you know, through the cracks. And I'm more than happy to look at kind of the code and to adjust it accordingly. Yeah. Any other comments or questions from the board? Anybody online? Wish to make a comment?
okay.
Okay, how many people do we have with us tonight? Thanks. Good number. Thank you for joining us, everybody. All right, seeing no other members of the public wish to comment, I would ask for a motion to close the public participation session.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Resolutions, consent agenda. The resolutions on the consent agenda are considered routine and shall be enacted by one motion. Should any member of the city council seek separate discussion of that item shall be removed and discussed separately.
Mayor, I just want to note that I did mess up on the resolution numbers. There's a duplicate, so you really don't worry about the numbers. You're voting on the actual resolution, and I'll adjust the numbers afterwards.
Thank you.
65, I duplicated.
I will just make a couple of see a picture. Other agenda here. A couple things I want to point out on the consent agenda. Public will note that we have some new not exceed amounts to be included in our budget this year. These have been added recently because of what are perceived or what we would expect to have upcoming changes in terms of litigation and some incidentals which we neglected to put in during the earlier reorg meeting. We also have the resolution to authorize the MOU with the greater area, the Greater Limerick Area Chamber of Commerce for Shad Festival. There was one change from last year. I have working with a couple of the business owners and with the council, we will be closing North Union Street between Church and North Union Street Friday evening before Shad Fest.
Church and Bridge,
What's that?
Church and Bridge.
Church and Bridge, I'm sorry, I said Church and Bridge.
You did.
Okay, for kind of a local site, a little bit of a block party, if you know, it's gonna be a band in the parking lot. And we thought it'd be a nice opportunity to help people wandering that block and feeling safe and fun and having a good time. So are we good with that? That is all I wanted to point out. Yes. Are there any questions from the council? Hearing none, I would have the motion to accept resolutions 63 through 69.
It's actually gonna be 63 through 70.
I'm sorry, 63 through 70.
Correct. Thank you.
Second. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Bill, did you get the answer on 70?
The ordinance doesn't contemplate a separate hearing.
Okay, thank you. Resolution number 70-2025. This is a resolution of the governing body of the city of Lambertville, county of Hunterdon, state of New Jersey, to authorize the cannabis application filed by Collective Belief LLC for submittal to the state of New Jersey. This is Collective Belief LLC. They filed an application to open a blanker business class 5 dispensary at Riverwalk. This application was approved by the planning board on February 19th, 2025, and it has been reviewed by the city attorney. Historical.
And the CMFO.
And the CMFO. Thank you for adding that. Thoughts or questions from the council on this resolution?
Yeah, I have a question. We've been discussing the potential extension of business hours in the central business district. It's following that. Okay.
Yeah, that'll be a discussion more on the
One,
early April first.
oh, yeah, okay, good, thank you.
Oh, I just have one question. What and I look to you, Lieutenant Brown, that I know we had a hearing before the planning board and we talked about that the police department was able to provide input into the plan, but I do ask, you know, one thing that we had talked about was that, you know, the police department continue to have a liaison with the applicant, given the fact that there's also a residential neighborhood there that folks are gonna be passing through to get to the site. And that, you know, we had a little bit of talk of traffic and everything and how it was going to go, that we keep that communication open.
Yes.
And if there are any, you know, also issues, to be able to, you know, share them with Lieutenant Brown as well. I know it was going to follow up on this.
I think my concern was the traffic on Wilson Street, and I'm glad to see that, you know, the delivery trucks will not be able to go there. So I think the residents there will appreciate that, because that street is small and it just doesn't make a lot of sense. So I'm glad that incorporated.
All right, if there are no further comments, I'll make a motion to adopt resolution for 70-2025.
Second,
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you, motion carries. Next is resolution number 70-2025. This resolution expresses support for the city of Lambertville to work collaboratively with Habitat for Humanity for the potential construction of 6 semi-detached houses at the city-owned Holcomb Farm property. Comments, questions from anybody?
I think we wanted to describe that some of these would be affordable units that we would be pursuing there. And part of that is our work in replacing some of the units that we owe for round 3 and our affordable housing plan. So we're looking forward to working on Habitat for Humanity for that. And also look forward to finishing out our round 3 plan as well.
I would just add that, I think this is really important that we do this because we want to show Fair Share that we're serious about affordable housing. We obviously have, a lawsuit on our hands, and I don't want Fair Share to think that we don't think that this is important. In the past couple of years, we've had lots of people come, and I don't think anyone has said we don't want affordable housing. What people have said is they don't want overdevelopment. Those two, obviously are very different. So I think this is a big step for Lambertville. We have not done a lot in terms of, or enough to provide enough affordable housing. This is a big step. We've also deed restricted, the apartment that we have as well. So
It's proposed.
proposed, yeah.
Yes.
Proposed. And, I think that this just goes to show good faith to Fair Share and that we really are trying, to maintain and, comply with our obligation. And we all really want to do it in a way that makes sense for the city.
Am I, yes, I think it's a great move forward. And Habitat, the city's worked with Habitat in the past with a lot of success. And my only concern that because it's so early in the process is that whatever gets built up there, whatever the architecture is, should reflect the fact that it's located next to a historical site. So I think we have to take that as some kind of consideration when these are designed. And that the final the final look of it will look similar to what was already up on that site as far as architecture. So it should help, set the tone for the reason why we purchased it in the first place. So that's my only concern. And I haven't heard any pushback from Habitat. We haven't had a discussion really yet, but I think it's great that they're taking an interest, and it's great that we have the property that we can donate and provide affordable housing to people in Lambertville again. So I think it's a great idea. Total support.
Anything else, President?
Geez. We'll keep it short and sweet. I just want to actually acknowledge Councilman Stegman's foresight. When he and I were first taking office, prior to our taking office, which would have been late 2020, we had conversations about doing this very thing. It didn't go forward at the time, but I'm really glad to see that we're able to do this.
Thank you, man.
I think it's a wonderful project. I'm very, very pleased that we're going to be able to hopefully get it all done, do it well. On that note, I would ask for a motion to adopt resolution number 2072-2025, authorizing memorandum of understanding with Habitat for Humanity.
Second,
What's your roll call, please?
Sure. Councilwoman Kaminsky,
yes.
Councilwoman Lambert,
Yes.
President, I'm sorry. Councilman Lai,
Yes.
Councilwoman Stegman,
Yes.
Mayor Now.
Yes, great, thank you. Keep everybody updated on progress. We will have the Habitat for Humanity folks begin to draft an MOU, and I'll keep everybody up to date. Approval of the bills. Let's everybody look at the bills. So Pam? The reluctant motion over there.
I'll make the motion.
All right, all in favor of paying the bills, please say aye.
Aye.
There's some big text in there.
Yes, that's
My goodness.
gotta get plenty of ink in your pen.
We're gonna move on to ordinances, first reading. The first one, ordinance number 04-2025. This is an ordinance to amend the Lambertville City Code 2014, Chapter 7, traffic to install 2 handicap parking spaces. This will allow for the Department of Public Works to install 2 handicap parking spaces, one in front of 138 South Main Street and on the north side of York Street by 65 York. we do this on a regular basis for our residents, and this is fairly straightforward matter. Unless council has a question, I would simply entertain a motion to introduce this.
A quick question.
Yes.
Cindy, do you know if there are currently any handicap spaces that have
Do
expired?
not, but Lieutenant Brown might.
Whether there are current handicap spots that are on the street that are no longer used for.
Not on the current ones that not on the current ones that we're looking at.
I know, but in the city itself.
Of the inventory.
So we wouldn't know that, so when the person moves or passes away, let me notify the city. I would not have any way to know that, right? So, and again, these handicap spaces are not just for that person, it's for any public person to be there, for the public to use.
Well, and I would think that there are instances where neighbors who know that a handicap space is no longer in use would be eager to let the city know that it's no longer a space, and firstly, please remove the yellow lights. So I'll have to get public buy-in and public advice.
I think there are two. I think there's one in front of Lambertville Academy that has not been used for years. That's handicapped, and there's also one on Arnett Street, my old neighbor who left Bill, it's no longer there. So there's two for you right there.
There you go.
And there may.
But I don't think we want to recoup.
I would probably advocate leaving the one in front of Lambertville Academy.
I was just
It's hard enough to drop off your kids, let alone having to find a park space.
You don't advocate people that aren't allowed to park there, are you?
Well, no, that's what tickets are for.
What about the central loading zones?
Yeah, it's like a walk machine when you have to do it. Oh, you don't want it.
Council President's idea, maybe that should be a loading zone.
Well, there is a loading zone on York Street, in front of St. Andrews, and parents will often use that. It's a loading zone for, I think, 15 minutes in the morning.
And we have two drop off spaces there too as well.
Right. But we'll take a
Does it make sense to go through the list and double check everything?
You know, Lester, honestly, every once in a while will come in because, you know, we changed the ordinance years ago. It doesn't require the ordinance to come back. The mayor just has to sign off on it going away. We haven't had any so far this year, but last year he removed 2 or 3 of them. Most of them two on Clinton Street, and then there was another one, I can't remember where. But he does usually keep pretty close eye on it.
Thanks for reminding me. I have signed off on a few of those
Yeah.
the last couple of years.
Just a suggestion, this is.
Got it, thank you.
So, now that we've had that discussion, would somebody make a motion to introduce this ordinance on first reading?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Thank you. Aye. I forgot to note that this will be scheduled for a public hearing on May 15th.
Can you put the mic a little closer?
Oh, sure.
Thank you.
Please, April 7th.
April 17th.
April 17th.
So good thing nobody heard you.
You know what? Yeah, it's me. I missed the total month. I'm sorry. The
That's
numbers
okay.
are all screwed up. It's April 17th.
April
It's April 17th.
Thank you for catching that. Next is the ordinance number 05-2025. This is the salary and wage ordinance. I would note that the positions highlighted in yellow have been eliminated. There are positions that have been probably out of use for some of them for some years now. And we're changing the way we've done this. Certainly in the last few years, we have done not the entire breadth of salaries for the city. We've just kind of amended the salary and wage ordinance relevant to those positions that were kind of hitting the 2% cap on the raise. So we were doing sort of piecemeal, but we've discovered really that it's harder to keep track of the salary and wage ordinance when it's done by multiple resolutions over multiple years. So we're going to go back to, for the sake of simplicity, doing the salary and wage ordinance each year. Are there any questions from the council about the ordinance? We have a motion to introduce the first reading ordinance number 05-20-2025. Establishing rates for city employees with a public hearing scheduled for October. I'm just kidding. April 17th.
There's another year.
Super.
Someone else? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you. Ordinance number 06 twenty twenty-five, this ordinance of the city of Lambertville, County of Hunterdon, New Jersey, would approve an affordable housing deed restriction for the accessory apartment owned by the city and located at 6 Lily Street. So we've had this apartment for quite a few years.
Seventies,
Specifically, how many?
1972.
1972. So we thought that it would be fun time to deed restrict it and also get credit for it with our affordable housing obligation. It's a lovely apartment in it not too long ago. It's quite a neat little place. Questions from the council about this? All
What
right.
does it say? I should know the answer to this. Is it round 3?
I'm not sure which it's gonna
Or
go
is it
to.
round 4?
I don't know.
I
which-
think this would go round for unmet needs. It's an apartment, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
100% sure.
Yeah, I don't remember talking about it for round 3. Okay.
And I would just point out too that it's retroactive to when we started using it as an affordable unit. So going back to 2013, so it's gonna be 30 years from 2013.
Right. Thank you. That's good point out. We have a motion to introduce ordinance number 06 twenty twenty-five.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you, motion carries. Ordinance number 07 2025, an ordinance to dedicate a new right of way at Fulton Farm, Fulton Farm Road. I'm gonna remove this from the agenda this evening, and I'll explain why. First, I'll explain why we need to do the ordinance. This is the last requirement for the city to meet in order to get our Green Acres funding for Fulton Park. I sent the DOT an email a couple of weeks ago. Because we decided that we needed to make sure that we could dedicate the road and to see whether we needed to have any DOT approval on that. DOT Assistant Commissioner Rankin just called me this afternoon to say that there is a process. We do need to apply for a major access permit. And therefore I'm going to hold off on introducing this ordinance for the moment. I'll meet with the DOT and the city engineer will file a permit request for this access. And once that permit is in hand, I will reintroduce this ordinance. Ordinance second reading, ordinance number 02 2025. This is an ordinance to amend the Lambertville City Code 2014, Chapter 7, traffic to install a handicap parking space in front of 47 Delaware Ave, requested by John.
Frank, I guess.
Thank you. This will create a handicap parking space, just where it says 47 Delaware Ave. Because this is the second reading, I will open this up for the public to make comments. If anybody has any comments about this ordinance. Anybody online? Right, may I have a motion to close the public comment period, please?
Second.
And all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now, unless the council has any questions about this, I'll allow for a motion to adopt on the second reading ordinance number 02 2025.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Ordinance number 03 2025. This ordinance of the city of Lambertville and the county of Hunterdon, New Jersey, providing for environmental investigation and remediation of Cavallo Park in and for the city, appropriating $140,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $140,000 in general improvement bonds or notes of the city to finance the same. We're going to talk a little bit about this. This is for remediation, testing and further potential remediation of Cavallo Park. I will open this up to the public for any comments or questions, as this is the second reading.
Jeff Tittle, 33 Wilson Street. Now, I haven't really followed the ordinance that closely. This is going to be for the new engineering firm that's going to be doing it, that doesn't have an LSRP.
It's being, the firm is subcontracted through a city engineer, yes.
And then the other question is, and I mean, you may not be able to answer it, but will the town try to recoup this from whoever dumped or whoever looked the other way to allow this to happen.
We spoke about that a little bit earlier. I'm not going to publicly comment on it, but we have discussed it as the council. Anyone else? Okay, don't someone online? Yes. So if you could please state your name and your address, and you have 3 minutes of time for comments or questions.
Ron, you go ahead and unmute yourself. Ron, you go ahead.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, it's tough to hear some. Good evening, John Henchek, 99 Quarry Street, Lambertville, New Jersey. That's why I'm here. I'm alive and well. Folks, when it comes to the situation at Cavallo Park, having been one of the folks that restored that many years ago with the great help from the people of Lambertville, I came across the article relative to the polycyclical aromatic hydrocarbons. And took some time to seek out a person knowledgeable in this area. Is this what they do for a living? And would like the council to confirm that perhaps we need to take a better look or a deeper look at this, because based on what this individual told me, is that you can't eat enough dirt to have it really affect you, and that the conditions that exist in the park are those very same conditions that one would find around any grill in anyone's house anywhere else. And I happen to recall that there was a factory in Milford, a paper factory, that produced something a little bit more complicated than just plain paper, and it put a plume of lead in the air, and the DEP has maps of this which show that the downflow of the water, the air following the water flow, that we were in the fall down zone of lead. And so we would tend to have a slightly higher lead content, and that combined with the railroad that we had, as well as a 19th century community that utilizes coal, that people sometimes threw the ashes in their yard, that over years that built up, that to take a second look at it. But my understanding is the conditions that were pointed out as problematic in Cavallo Park are the very same conditions that exist under everyone's grill that has such a thing any place. And I'm very concerned about the amount of money, but I'm also concerned about the safety of children. But what I was told is that you can't, it's ingestion that causes the problem, and that the problem you would have would be the dirt itself. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other? All right, I would have a motion to close the public comment period, please. So moved. All seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you. We're out of public comment for this. Council, any last questions or thoughts before I ask for motion to adopt the ordinance?
So moved.
Second, please. All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now we've funded this cleanup over this project, we can now consider a resolution to award the contract to the LSRP services for the Cavallo Park remediation. This resolution was a contract to Brownfield Science and Technology to fund the work outlined in the preliminary assessment report for Cavallo Park. They'll be working as a subcontractor for the city engineer. Any questions? We have a motion to adopt the resolution number 72, 2025. 73, sorry.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, motion carries. Correspondence, as noted in the meeting agenda, JCPA now notes a public hearing for infrastructure investment program. Harding County Public Health Division of Mosquito and Vector Control there's an area-wide mosquito patrol and, board of county commissioners. Copy of the resolution 25-20, urgent state use of path legislation of authorized taxes, municipalities, school districts, and all local governments to publish legal notices in a clear manner, in local government's official website. Board appointments, I would like the council to consider the following nominations to fill vacant or upcoming vacant positions. So Lambertville Municipal Utilities Authority, we've had a number of people there who served on that board for many, many years. I believe that Paul Rotundi has been on that board for more than 15 years. Certainly Jackie Middleton's been there for some years, and Vince Yule, who is really an expert, has also served on that board for some time. So beginning in April, my suggested appointments are that Paul Rotundi will step down. Well, we know that he's going to step down from the board. Holly Havens would replace Paul Rotundi in his capacity. David Burke would replace Holly Havens as alternate number 1. Beginning in May, Jackie Middleton steps down from the board. David Burke replaces Jackie Middleton. Mal Hoyle would be appointed to alternate 1. And beginning in June, Vince Yule steps down from the board and Bob Dahl replaces Vince Yule. And Emily Manaman would be appointed to alternate 2. Are there any questions from any of the council members on these appointments? Okay. Hearing none, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve them.
Move.
Second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thanks. The motion carries. And I'll take an opportunity to say thank you again to everybody who serves on boards and commissions. A lot of work. And people do it very generously at their time, more than 100 people. The LMUA board is a lovely board. The people on it are lovely. It's maybe not the sexiest board in Lambertville, but they're good people and they do good work. So I'm especially appreciative of them. Also, in terms of appointments, I would like to appoint Jen Gifford to the Parks and Recreation Commission. Jen is a wonderful resident here in town with 2 small boys, whom I see out all the time, and I think she'll make a great addition. So, may I have a motion to appoint Jen?
So
Second.
All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All, thank you. Not really too much to say about an update on projects. I spoke about projects in Lambertville Matters this morning. But a lot of things all the time going on in the city. We have road projects coming up this year. We continue to look at infrastructure, stormwater infrastructure. We've got painting at the library, lead remediation coming up, painting. Busy time in the city now that we're into spring, and if anybody has any questions about any projects or would like to see a project, should just call me. And I'm always happy to entertain ways in which we can make the city better and more livable for everybody. Announcements, the website, please go to lambertvillenj.org for all your news. We also post on Facebook, and many things are included in the newsletter, the weekly newsletter. Street sweeper resumes March 24th, weather permitting. So please make sure that you move your cars next week. I believe that Paul was up on the hills this week.
It was indeed.
He was indeed. So that's great news. Our city offices will be closed on Friday, April 18th, in observation of the holiday, Good Friday. Shad Festival is scheduled for April 26th and 27th. And Sparkle Week is as noted. I'm not going to read all through that, but if you have any questions about Sparkle Week, please reach out to us. Pride Parade is Saturday, May 17th. And now I will open the meeting up for the second public participation period. So same rules as before, please step to the microphone and those with mobility issues, state your name and address and 3 minutes.
Hi, Beth O'Brien, 2 Hancock Street. Could you clarify what the Habitat for Humanity units, what round those will be designated to?
I think it's to be determined. No, actually,
No, I think they're to be replace the 30 station units for round 3. So, yeah, because we have, the 2 holes in our round 3 plan, right?
Yeah.
Camden Hill, and that replaces.
I think right, at least know that that's proposed. Yes,
But that's our intent.
that's our, I just wanted to.
It's our intent.
Awesome, thank you very much.
We're close. They wanted to see the ordinance tonight, and obviously
Right.
we're in of
Right.
understanding with that, because,
Shows our intent, Right.
yeah, so we're close to be able to report that.
right,
Thank you.
trying.
Carolyn Gavois, I'm 41 Quarry Street, I'm owner of Union Coffee and vice president of the Greater Lakeport Chamber of Commerce. I just wanted to thank the council for, and the mayor for bringing up the idea of locals night for Shad Fest. I think it's, over the years, the chamber has struggled with the perception that Shad Fest is not a local event, and we've been working really hard over the past number of years to both make sure we're kind of engaging the local artisans and the local creators and crafters, but also this as an extension, opening up for the poster auction, the work that Amy does, with the scholarship funding, as an entity of the Chamber of Commerce is, I think, the real value add of this event. I think that the locals night is a great way to get people out. So I just wanted to thank the council for considering that, and for the mayor for the idea, and for the police for helping make it happen. Also, just in regards to the hotel project, I'm very excited to hear that there's going to be some kind of subsequent conversation with the developer. And I would say that, generally, I'll speak personally, not on behalf of the chamber, but I'm not always opposed to growth and change. I think growth and change is really essential for our community, but we need progress with intention and input from the community, and I think intentional decisions about how we grow. And so I would just say that as an entity of the chamber, I would love for us to have a voice for any committees that are developed regarding central business district growth, business development growth, how we're moving in a proactive way as opposed to a reactive way. So I think that is fundamentally keeps people a lot calmer and keeps us all on the same page. So the chamber's on board, and I'm happy to be a resource in that way. So thank you guys so much.
Thanks. The chamber always has mindful support, and I'm sure I think the mayor occasionally when I speak for the council that we're all committed to the chamber and the success of the central business district. And this year, miniature pony at Shad Fest.
Miniature pony at Shad Fest.
Not a locals night.
No, not a locals night. Spider guy too. Spiders, everybody, just get ready.
In weed store.
Yeah.
Jeff Fiddle, 33 Wilson Street. Two points. One, in going through the briefs, I saw that a Canadian who a few months ago had threatened us if we didn't give them what they wanted, they were going to walk away. Also had a letter, and I had never heard the council bring it up, but it was in the packet, that they were threatening to go after 470 units against the town, which just shows you, how outrageous this company is and how they look at every place that they could destroy. And I think when you start really understanding what you're up against, and I've been through a builder's remedy suit. I went through one 40 years ago. It took 3 years and we won. Because Greenwood was environmentally sensitive. It's a case you can look up. It's Countryside versus Ringwood. In that case, the town council tried to settle, and the citizen groups and League of Women Voters actually entered the case and took it over and forced the town to go with it. And now that area is protected. It's in the Highlands Act. But the point is that our town is really at risk if they could get away with what they're trying to do. And given the fact that I think we're not as prepared as we should be to this onslaught, we really need to get our act together. And again, I hope somebody's talking to, village apartments. The other point I wanted to make is about the wells. 71 wells. We should have them mapped on GIS, and maybe DEP will do it, because it shows that it's spreading, where it's spreading to, and where the areas where it could actually go. Other thing that I think it also means, we really need to get DEP to declare this area an area of immediate concern. We need to get resources, and we need to get them more involved, and we need to, and with DEP, which is so many places that have this issue, we have to yell. Because they will only listen to the loudest voices, and they can come in under the Spill Act and actually do testing on the Hill and other places. And so we really need to push them and site remediation folks in DEP to do that. And then the other point to leave you with, if it's spreading this far, the town really needs to think about class action suit. Any other towns in New Jersey are doing it, over 40. Some of the residents on the Hill are doing it. It's the only way we're going to protect ourselves, because when they start suing all over the place, we're going to get down to it. I know you do litigation, but it's something to really think about, because, I thought it was like, I was sort of surprised. I thought it was 20, 30, when I hear 70, and then we know there's up on Cottage Hill now. I'm really concerned. So thank you.
Hello again, John Towns, Hancock Street. A couple of quick questions. 7, 8 months, we've been having this discussion regarding the Hill and K-Hop and all that other nonsense. I have to ask a question. A number of houses were built, properties were built, new construction in the town, yes? Were they?
Sorry, I don't understand the question.
Was there new construction built in town? Like Wilson Street, where
Yeah,
there was.
over the last 5 years, there have been at least 14 or 15.
I asked this question back 7, 8 months ago, why haven't we re-implemented the 20%? For these builders to build low-income housing? If we're gonna show the court, hey, we're serious. Now, I understand we're also gonna be, the Finkel site is gonna be some wedding venue, is that correct? Are we forcing them to put in low-cost rentals, or can we? Are we exploring this? The city attorney could probably answer that better, but I'm sitting in cheap seats and came in a little late, but it's not looking like there's a lot going on. Now, maybe there is. But I don't have a lot of faith because we've been dragging feet for so long. And not just this year, years previous. And this is going all the way back to Dave Delvecchio, for goodness sakes, about wanting to build up on that hill. And, Julia, our previous mayor, she's stripping those layers out and stripping out all those requirements for anybody to build. They can build what they want. What's the cheapest house on Wilson Street right now? The new ones, $850,000. How many did they put in? 5, 6? I'm not sure. But I mean, 1 or 2 of those, or at least 20% could have been for low income. I don't know. So now you understand where we out here are looking at you guys as leaders. It's not being addressed. And now we're going to have to get a lawyer, and we're going to have to go up against not only City Hall, but all these people who are building these things and not adhering to a state mandate that we don't want anything to do with. By the way, just my opinion, we don't need any more green acres. This city is 1 mile by 1 mile. How much more do we need? We can't afford it. Anyway, thank you so very much. Have a great evening.
So let me answer your questions. The city does have a 20% set aside for developments of over 5 units. So 5 units and above, you have to build 20%. So over 5 units, you're required to build 1 unit for affordable housing. And that's throughout the city. And for projects that are less than 5 units, there is a development fee that's paid into the Affordable Housing Trust, which has tripled in the last 3.5 years. So that hopefully answers that question. The Finkel site, we'll see what the plan is. I'm not going to comment about plan that has not been submitted to the city. They have, our zoning ordinances allow for certain things in any given zoning district. So we have to see what comes in officially when it comes in. I believe 8 houses were constructed at Wilson Street, and I don't remember why there was not a 20% set aside for those houses. I don't know, Bill or Cindy can answer that question. It was before the 20% set aside was citywide?
No, I think that there were 2 separate,
2 separate developments.
right, and they were 4 each, so they had to pay the development fee rather than put in the more than 5 that when you have to build.
That's a tricky move.
Thank you for that.
Nice to have
Yeah.
Well, I think what I just like to add is that what I really hear a lot of folks saying, and that I really would like to acknowledge, is that for me, I feel like as a council person, and I'm only one of a bunch of people, people don't call me when they're coming into town, but I do feel like that we owe everyone to be a good steward of the town. So I really sometimes, I love that somebody wants to come and make a presentation to us and all of these things, but I think that one thing is that I always like to be clear with folks who are coming is that our community experience is more important than someone's like boutique hotel experience, that we are mindful, or I am mindful of keeping that principle as we go down the road with looking at any of these projects, because our community experience is what we're all about. And we have to be good stewards of that. So I think in part of doing that is, you know, we're revamping our historic preservation ordinance, and it started when we were doing that for flood replacement for a whole nother reason. But it's a reason to take a look at, maybe there are some things that we need to twerk up to, you know, protect our neighborhoods and help our neighborhoods, because it's a different time. People have more money, they're amassing sites, they're doing things that we never thought of before. And so we have to be smart planners and zoners and just protectors of the community experience with whatever tools we can. And, you know, I think it's time we, you know, vision a little bit and sit down and talk about maybe some changes, you know, in our master plan and our existing zoning, and take a look at it, because, you know, it is 2025, I keep forgetting, but land use patterns have changed, you know, the business practices have changed, and I just think that that's something that I'd like to see us do, and want people to know that that's something at least I'm thinking about, you know, that you know, our community is important, and we're important, like, we gotta be the sheriff about it, you know, and not say, hey, just come on in. Well, but this is what we hold dear, and we need to let you know that.
If I could jump,
Yeah, please, go ahead.
I think we should look into changing the number of townhouses allowed to, without from 5 to 4, where things start to kick in, because people will build out to however many is permitted before they have to kick in to do set aside. So with properties being, in some cases, overdeveloped, just to get 5 in and be able to pay, you know, pay the fee, so to speak. I think we have to look at, you know, just because a property can hold 5 doesn't mean, I think people are responsible. You know, we have to be responsible for what we have put in our ordinances to start to limit the mass where the number kicks in to provide money or an affordable unit in town. So I think we should, you know, as long as we're talking about fair share housing and affordability and the 20% set aside. And I agree with Karen, it's not the same. It's not the same city it was for most of us who have been here more than 20 or 30 years or grew up here. It's the whole environment is different than it was then. So maybe we should look at those numbers too, and make a developer more responsible to provide fair share housing when we have all this infill that's happening. That's all.
Other thoughts?
Yeah. Thank you, Councilman and Councilwoman. I agree with both of you. I think, you know, as I reflect on some of those not large, but those kind of shopping under the floor limit types of projects where they do them in 2 phases, so they don't have to make a commitment. We need to challenge, individuals or organizations that want to come in and sort of, take advantage of our popularity and the desirability factors of this community, because the reason they're all trying to do it is only because they're going to change why they're trying, what attracted them to begin with, right? We're a quaint, small scale community. And I've said this before, I ran for this position to oppose that type of approach. And I am committed to, you know, retaining the small town feel that has made Lambertville such a remarkable place to live.
No, I agree with what everyone is saying. You know, it was very frustrating to see this house is being built, no affordable housing. I completely agree with you. Anytime I see construction like that, I'm always thinking, how can we, put affordable housing there? And I think the only thing we can do in that situation is they did pay money to the fund and, we need to make sure we utilize that money to go out and rehab other properties, which we're allowed to do. So when those properties that are not producing affordable housing, they pay a fee to the city, the Affordable Trust Fund. And we have funds there. And as the mayor said, that those funds have increased significantly over the past couple of years. And I think what we're doing with the Affordable Housing Committee, we're looking for areas that we can spend those funds in town to rehab properties and convert them to affordable housing. So I agree, we shouldn't have done it, but it happened. And so we've got to make the best of that money and use that
Yeah.
to our benefit.
And to your point, the last two big developments small developments that were approved was the Wilson Street one and Delavan and Ferry Street, and Delavan. And Delavan, so, you can kind of look at those and say, gee, maybe it should have been larger and there should have been less. To be able to kick in fair share housing.
So I think all of these are good points. These are significant process questions. We have a master plan in place and the examination report, which was done in 2019. These are the guardrails for the kinds of things that we're talking about tonight. We have processes in place. We have the planning board and zoning board and all of that. And I think that there's a real sensitivity to change and doing it well. And I think that we have done some very good, in my opinion, there's been some good changes in Lambertville, certainly in the last 10 years that I've been here, in terms of our economic growth, in terms of revitalization, in terms of people's interest coming in. I think that there are a lot of things. The one thing that we haven't talked about when we talk about future development is the incorporation of our resilience action plan into the next version of the master plan. When we talk about what the city is going to look like in 2 years or 5 years or 10 years, we really need to be considering what's going to be published in probably the next month, the resilience action plan, which is going to provide us with a lot of information and data about how to develop in a way that's not only attractive and appropriate in terms of scale, but what's going to provide our residents with a level of safety and education and knowledge about the place where we actually live, right? The geography, the climate, the issues around climate change, all of these things are going to be part of our next re-examination report. And certainly, that's due in 2029. If the council wants to start kind of looking at some of these things a little bit earlier, I'm certainly willing to put resources. I think that we could certainly do that. But the resilience action plan, I always need to give a shout out to that, because that is really going to be an important component of what how the city moves forward in terms of the way its residents live and are safe. Please step up.
I forget what I was going to say.
Something.
By Brunswick Avenue. As an education, so this is an education piece and a question. All right, the process, the mayor sent a letter, and then there was, the developer sent a document to the judge. Right, we sent a document to the judge, and the developer then sent a letter or sent a document to the judge. All right, and reading that, it's like unbelievable. All right, paper stands still, and I understand that. All right, what's the next process? Can we rebut at this point, or refine our agreement, or is that the end? We talk to the judge, makes a decision, or what happens? And the other question is that if there's something that can be done, are we processing or moving forward with that process?
Councilman, do you want to take a crack at that?
I can, yeah, so I've been posting the briefs we call them briefs as lawyers, papers, so. There's actually a briefing schedule that I can send you as well, because all the parties that are involved had opportunities to file papers. Then there's typically a response, and then there's a response to that too. occasionally the judge will let you have a fourth crack, a solo apply, but you need permission, and I don't think on this they would really need that. But I believe Fair Share has to file their brief still, and I believe we still have a response to Kate Hop. I think that's what it says. And just so you know, too, the first thing the judge is gonna be determining is whether or not the developer is entitled to intervene. So that doesn't mean they're gonna get what they want. It just means, are they gonna get an opportunity to sit at the table with everyone to decide this? And that's what the motion is, before the judge. There's gonna be oral argument. The judge could give a decision that day. I think on something like this, I would expect that, he's probably gonna wait to hear oral argument and hear everything, because obviously he's read the papers, and then shortly after that, issue a decision. So there's still more stuff to the process, but again, if that motion gets granted, that's only the first step, which is their ability to participate in the litigation.
And the oral argument is the end of the month.
I believe in, and they're probably, I would presume, because it's public access, there's gonna be a Zoom link, and if there is, I can certainly provide it, if people wanna watch it. Everything in court is open record. You could, if it's in person, which it could be, you're entitled to go to the courthouse, and as long as you are respectful in the courtroom, you're able to listen there and hear everything yourself too. So I can certainly provide anyone information if I know that there's gonna be a hearing, so people could attend.
Thank you. I'm not sure what you said, but it's okay.
More papers are gonna be.
More paper.
Papers, hearing, decision. Next month.
Are they planning to respond at this juncture prior to the orals and the action by the judge?
So we've already filed some papers, Kelly Grant, our attorney, and I believe we are filing a response as well. I'll have to look at the briefing schedule again. Just to this initial issue, if they're able to participate in litigation.
Okay, thank you.
Bill, do you have anything to? Okay, good, thank you, Councilman. Anyone else in the room have that thought? One? Okay, we have a motion to close the public hearing.
Move.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thanks for our the public participation session. It's good to see so many people here, and it's good to see so many people up online. Hope you all have a lovely weekend and enjoy the weather, and a motion to adjourn. All second. All in favor? It sounds like we're all unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.